For the longest time, the consulting industry has run on a pretty standard playbook. It's been tried and true for decades. But now, as we head into 2025, that playbook is being completely torn up and rewritten in real time. We're talking about huge forces of economic disruption, artificial intelligence, and a wild shift in what top talent even wants anymore. Okay, let's dive into what's really going on. So it all boils down to this one big question. Is the old way of doing things, the traditional consulting playbook, is it actually broken? Now, it's not a simple yes or no, but man, the cracks are really starting to show. Think about it like this. The very ground that consulting firms built their empires on, this stable, predictable world, it's just not there anymore. Geopolitical chaos, technology moving at lightning speed, and totally new expectations from the workforce mean that foundation is now fundamentally fractured. All right, so first up, let's look at the big economic picture. Because frankly, the global economy is sending some seriously mixed signals, and that's creating a really tough environment for clients and, of course, for the consultants they hired. So you see this number, 3.3% global GDP growth, and you might think, hey, that's okay, right? But here's the catch. It is not the strong, robust recovery that everybody was banking on. It's kind of sluggish, and it's hiding all this underlying volatility and nervousness that's making companies pump the brakes on spending. And this is where it gets really interesting. The world's major economies are not on the same page at all. You've got the US keeping interest rates high, trying to keep a lid on inflation. Meanwhile, Europe is easing up, and China is actually fighting deflation. It's not one unified global economy anymore. It's more like a patchwork quilt where everyone is playing by different rules, making international strategy a total headache. And you can see the direct result of that right here. Clients are getting nervous, they're hitting the brakes, they're postponing those big transformative projects. Or they're shrinking the scope, saying, just focus on what gives us a return right now. And of course, we're seeing widespread budget freezes. The question from clients is shifting from how can we be more efficient to how can you help us find new revenue, like yesterday. Now, layered on top of all that economic pressure is another massive disruption: technology. We're talking about AI, and it's no longer just a helpful co-pilot giving you suggestions. We're on the verge of it becoming an autonomous agent, a real decision maker inside companies. And just look at these numbers. This isn't some far-off futuristic thing. Over half of all organizations are planning to use AI agents within the next year. That's an incredibly steep adoption curve. It means if you're not already figuring out your AI strategy, you are already falling behind. But there is a huge, huge roadblock here. 80%? That's how much of the world's data is unstructured. We're talking emails, PDFs, meeting transcripts, videos, all the messy stuff. AI thrives on clean, structured data. So this unstructured chaos is a massive challenge. But you know what? It's also a massive opportunity for consultants who can help clients make sense of it all. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. At the end of the day, the hardest part about AI isn't the code or the algorithms, it's the culture. It's about changing how people work, how teams are structured, how decisions get made. It's a human problem. And that is exactly where great consultants can shine. Which is a perfect segue into our third big disruption: the people, the consultants themselves. The workforce is in this massive state of flux, and it's forcing firms to completely rethink how they find, keep, and motivate their top talent. I mean, just look at this number, 36%. More than a third of consultants are actively thinking about looking for a new job in the next year. That's not just a retention problem. That's a potential exodus. It's a full-blown talent crisis. So, why are so many people looking to leave? Well, yeah, money is still number one. No surprise there. But look what's right behind it. People are demanding new challenges. They want a better company culture, and this is crucial. They want flexibility, remote work, and real support for their health and well-being. It's not just about the paycheck anymore. It's about the whole package. And let's be clear, the pandemic pretty much settled this debate. For knowledge workers, especially for top consultants, flexibility isn't some fancy perk. It's the baseline. It's the starting point. Forcing everyone back to the office 5 days a week is just a fantastic way to lose your best people. Hybrid isn't the future of work, it's just work. Okay, so you've got this shaky economy, this AI revolution, and this talent crisis. How are consulting firms actually trying to respond? Well, they're exploring totally new ways of operating, and they're also getting squeezed by new pressures, like everything happening with ESG.
One of the big strategic moves we're seeing is something called the global delivery model. Now, that sounds a little technical, but all it really means is building a smarter, more flexible global team. You're strategically using talent from different parts of the world, onshore, nearshore, offshore, to get the absolute best mix of cost, skills, and efficiency.
And this table lays it all out pretty clearly. Going onshore is great for communication. Everyone's in the same time zone, but it's expensive. Offshore can save you a ton of money, but you might run into communication hurdles. And nearshore is that sweet spot in the middle. The smartest firms right now aren't just choosing one, they're creating a hybrid of all three. And as if that wasn't enough to deal with, you have leaders trying to walk this incredible tightrope with ESG. On one side, you've got political pressure to maybe pull back on some of these commitments. But on the other side, you have customers and your own employees demanding more real, authentic action on climate and social issues than ever before. It's a really, really tough spot to be in.
So, after all that, the fractured economy, the AI revolution, the talent crisis, these new strategic pressures, what's the answer? What does the consultant's new playbook for 2025 actually look like?
Well, it really comes down to these 4 new rules. First, you've got to embrace agile delivery. Be faster, leaner, and obsessed with delivering value quickly. Second, become a true master of AI integration and remember to focus on the human side of that change. Third, you have to win the talent war by building a culture that people actually want to be a part of, one with flexibility, purpose, and well-being. And finally, number 4, get smart about using global delivery models to balance cost and quality. So I want to leave you with this one last, really important question to think about. As AI gets better and better at doing all the data crunching and analysis, the stuff that junior consultants used to do, what's left for the human consultant? What is that unique value that a person brings to the table? The answer to that question is going to define the entire future of this industry.